Hey guys, what's going on? It's KG here. I'm just gonna talk about settings. So I've recorded a couple of these videos and they all kind of didn't pan out the way I wanted to. So figured I would just hold the phone and go through settings and talk about them as we go on because I feel like this might be the best way to do it overall. I'm gonna break this up in different videos. Right now we're gonna go with HDR Gaming. As you can see, I got Madden 21 in the background. This game, I highly do not recommend you to buy this game. So unless you're like a diehard football fan and that's the only thing you can get, I do not recommend this game. It's not a very good game. Don't buy it. With that out of the way, let's go into settings. Um, Brightness. Let me adjust this real quick so you can see. There you go. Alright, so brightness is at 50. Contrast I keep at 42. And colors at 25. Local dimming is set to low. And the reason for this to be set to low right now is just because of the bug that we have. So you probably want to have it at standard or high once this bug is fixed. And you can even have it while you have the bug, but keep in mind if you have it on standard or high, it will automatically drop down to low after a couple seconds or a couple of minutes. It's just a bug that we're dealing with, and I have no timetable on when it's going to be fixed or if it's going to be fixed. I imagine it will be fixed, so just kind of have patience with that. But yeah, if you set it to low, you never get that issue to pop up. To combat the lack of brightness, setting your contrast enhancer to low instead of being off by default. Like I usually would say, keep this off if you're on standard or high local dimming. But if you put it on low, it will give you back a little bit more of that brightness. And high is going to give you a little bit more added saturation to contrast, but you will get a less accurate picture that way. Color tone, I think warm is going to be the best one. Warm 1 or warm 2 is definitely going to depend on your preferences and your game. Standard is going to be kind of what the TV ships with, and then cool is the old, like, cool is kind of what Samsung used in the past more so, I think. If you guys are used to that, and stick with that. But warm one's typically the more accurate one. Shadow detail and gamma and all that, you're gonna want to keep that at 0 most likely, and it could depend on the game. Sometimes you'll raise it. It also depends on your environment, what kind of room you're in. So mess with that, like that. And then for HDR gaming, I say color space is set to auto, because if you put it to native, you'll see some dramatic changes in the color that really doesn't match the realistic point of view. So, for example, I know the color orange of that Miami Dolphins logo is supposed to look like that. If you go to native, you can see that it gets darker and more of a red orange, which is closer to like a Denver Broncos type logo. Um, so I usually just go with auto because it is the more accurate one on HDR. Remember this because it's going to be the other way around when it comes to SDR, and I will explain that in a little bit. Alright, so going through the actual game mode settings, I apologize if I am off camera a little bit, trying to multitask and record. So game motion plus, to sum this up, you can have this on. It'll make your gameplay smoother in certain circumstances. Like you could set it to 0, 0, 0, and you will never have any inverse ghosting. If you're in the European region, or just you don't have a US set, because as far as I know, the US sets have fixed inverse ghosting, but anything non-US has inverse ghosting still. So keep game motion plus on to eliminate any inverse ghosting. Alright. And if you don't want any motion interpolation, just leave it to 0 all the way. Now, if you got a 30 frames per second game and you want it to feel more like a 60 frames per second game, put the judder to 10 like that, and then keep the blur to 0. Now on the flip side, if you have a 120 frames per second, sorry, if you want to feel like 120 frames per second with a 60 frames per second title, say like Call of Duty for example, you speed it up by changing the blur reduction to 10 and the judder reduction to 0. Now, I want to say that it's not going to give you straight frame rate boost. It's not a gosh, that's hard to say. A straight frame rate boost. It's not going to give you that. It's really just going to be motion interpolation. And a lot of people get this confused and think that there's going to be a soap opera effect, but that's just not the case. It's just a really smooth look to it. And there's hardly any motion artifacts. I really think that Samsung probably does motion better than any other TV on the market in terms of adding motion to the screen, if that makes sense. Because I know when you put certain settings on, you'll get motion artifacts on other TVs. So do keep that in mind when you're looking at TVs. This does motion really, really good. So by default, usually just keep it off, just because that's going to give you the best response time. And you turn it on whenever you want to make the game feel smoother or faster, really. But for like the best response time, you're definitely going to keep it off. And when you have your next gen consoles, probably just keeping it off is going to be fine because you're outputting it at 120 hertz anyway. So it's likely just going to give you the best picture quality that you can get anyway, and the best response time that you can get anyway. So keep that in mind for next gen consoles. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I missed for game mode HDR? I don't believe so, no. So you got your dynamic black equalizer, which you're going to mess with this on darker games if you want to get rid of some black crush, if you see any of that being added. I haven't really found a reason to use this yet, to be honest. If I like messing with the black levels, I definitely tweak the shadow detail in the actual picture quality menu, because that's just gonna add some more black level into the picture. You go down too far, you'll definitely get black crush, but that's just there if you want to use it. That about wraps it up for HDR Gaming. You know, I put this game in the background because it plays itself, and the computer is just playing the computer, and that's just what you get. Stick around because next I'll have the HDR Gaming. I'll probably upload that soon, so stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.